Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And my name is Miska.
And welcome to Overwatch Central. So we've had a pretty news-heavy week this week. We've had a lot of videos going over sort of breaking news with some changes and balance patches on the PTR. Well, in today's video, we wanted to go over some common stories that have sort of appeared this week, but in themselves not really enough to make a video over. So we've sort of grabbed all of these topics together and decided to make more of a news roundup for the end of this week. We've got quite a few stories to get through, so let's get started with some news about Symmetra.
So let's start this off with what's not really a blue post, but still a post or actually just a letter from a Blizzard official. It's Jeffrey Kaplan himself who's answered some mail this time. The person who sent this letter, and an Overwatch fan I assume, Samuel, had a few questions for Jeff. And basically Jeff Kaplan, game director of Overwatch and vice president of Blizzard, decided to write back to Samuel. The big thing here is this section right here that I'm just gonna highlight and grab as a quote. So Jeff Kaplan says, "I'm glad you asked about Symmetra. It was very astute of you to notice that she mentioned the spectrum in our comic. Symmetra is autistic. She's one of our most beloved heroes, and we think she does a great job of representing just how awesome someone with autism can be." Not because it's sort of some type of big news really, but it's been a theory for a long time, and I guess now it's kind of confirmed. Symmetra is a very interesting character like that, and this theory has been going around, like I said, for quite a long time. So having it be confirmed like this is very interesting, and I thought it was worth highlighting in a video like this, even though I'm a little bit doubtful to the part that they call pretty much every hero their most beloved hero. But anyway, looking past that, very interesting letter, and it feels pretty good to get these sort of things confirmed. Michael Chu sometimes confirms the occasional theory on the forums, but Jeff Kaplan putting this in clear writing, quite literally, is something that I definitely wanted to share with you guys in case you had missed it. Anyway, let's move on to some actual Battle.net forum blue posts.
Another topic that came up a few days ago was the fact that players were using the game browser and new custom games as a way to exploit and earn XP so they could get loot boxes for free. Basically, there were a few players that were setting up AFK XP farms where players could just go AFK, earn experience in the game, and thus get loot boxes because of it. Well, Jeff Kaplan's come in and put his foot down with this fairly lengthy response. I'm not going to read a lot of it, but I wanted to highlight him saying, "I've seen some discussion in the community and in the press on this topic, and sometimes it gets talked about as if it's a grey area. Now let me take this grey area and make it starkly black and white for you. Abusing and exploiting custom games or any other game mode to earn experience in Overwatch while inactive is not okay. The reason that I want to be absolutely clear about this is that we are going to start taking disciplinary action against people who partake in these activities. So yeah, basically don't join any of these games in the game browser as your account might get banned. Even jokingly naming your custom games this could get you banned as well, so basically stay well clear of them if you see them. Basically, it would really suck to see these custom games no longer grant experience because some people are exploiting the system. Without any form of experience, players might not play the game browser at all, so it is one of those things of like, look at this is why we can't have nice things." He even signed it off as Jeffrey, which I think highlights how disappointed he is in the whole community. It really is Jeff just stamping down on this and making sure that everybody knows that this is not okay, so we thought that we'd share the message.
Next up, we actually have a post by Michael Chu, the lead writer. So what he tends to do in the forums is answer some lore questions and just sort of clarify things that people might have gotten confused, just to get people sort of back on track when it comes to discussion and theorizing around the Overwatch lore. So in this case, the question was, how do Blizzard build heroes? Now this question has been touched upon in the past, but this was a really good answer from Michael Chu, so I wanted to grab a lot of bits from this, so just bear with me here. So the main thing that Michael Chu says is that it comes from three places: art, design, or story. But it then goes on to give some examples of where these have influenced different characters and have created certain heroes even. So Mr. Chu goes on to say that early on they wanted a character that went sort of against turrets and could really kill turrets quite effectively, which is why Junkrat was created. Later on they wanted to create a flying rocket launcher using character, which then became Pharah, so that was more of a sort of request from the design team. And of course the sniper support character sort of turned into Ana after a while. Then there are the ones that are more dreamt up by the design team, such as Zarya and Winston. So basically a character concept artist will go on to just, do some sketches and essentially come up with the basic idea for Zarya or Winston, and then develop those together with the rest of the Overwatch team. And then finally, of course, there are the characters that come out of the story. So Soldier 76, we of course know, is basically Chris Metzen's creation from a while back, and some people like to even refer to him as Chris Metzen's baby, basically. But what Michael Chu goes on to mention about Soldier 76 is also very important. Basically, they wanted a character who could shine a light on certain parts of the narrative. In his case, he's basically at the spine of the entire history of Overwatch. Michael Chu finishes by saying every hero is a little different, but in general, that's the process for how they come about. This post was actually written about quite a lot on Twitter, on websites of different kinds and articles and so on, so we hope you enjoyed this sort of writer insight into Overwatch as well.
Next up, this is a story from about a week ago where Jeff Goodman is talking about DVa. It comes from a forum post by Cenobite, which again is fairly lengthy, but I'm going to take the last paragraph as that sums it up. So my point is Bastion gets his change live this week and pretty much becomes the Terminator, and within a couple of days we get an official statement and update on the new alteration to balance him out a bit. Why have we not seen any of this for DVa? Even a statement saying we're working on it, so stay tuned. Oh look guys, we're leaving her as she is, we like what we've done and the data that shows it, we're working, just something. Anything would be better than nothing. And anything came up in the shape of Jeff Goodman talking about DVa, and he said, I've talked about DVa changes in the past, but unfortunately it just isn't what people want to hear. I understand people are frustrated that she's lost a bit of her bully nature and really want to play her that way again. The reality is she was too good at too many things and something had to give. I know that given the choice, many people would sacrifice power from her tools like defense matrix if it allowed her to be played in a more aggressive role, like she did for a time. Overall, the concept of a giant mech wreaking havoc and dealing a ton of damage as an offense or defense hero is a cool one, but DVa just isn't built for that. That said, clearly there is a strong desire for that kind of hero, and it certainly would be sweet to make another mech type hero in that space. So that's something for us to consider looking forward. So basically, DVa maids, you're not really going to get that hero back anytime soon. I think they like DVa as she is, the ability to sort of mitigate a lot of that damage coming in, as opposed to being this massive wasp that's flying around dealing a lot of damage. That's not to say that DVa at the moment isn't useful in her own right. She can still be played in a really aggressive nature, but she just doesn't have that reinforcement that she had before. Again, this is one of those things that wasn't really mentioned too much, but we felt it was worth noting for those that may not know. So in short, DVa isn't looking to get changed anytime soon, and that's kind of a shame.
So in this last proper post we're gonna mention, Jeff Goodman talks about some interesting design features that could possibly make the game, or that they at least are willing to sort of try out. So Battle.net forum user Infinite basically said, so how about making his hook work like Junkrat's trap? Now him in this case being Roadhog, and his hook of course. The suggestion goes as follows: while you are trapped you cannot use your abilities during the trap duration, but you can still shoot. What if we put that one on the hook instead of the stun? So now when he hooks someone as the target gets pulled in, they can still fight back with their weapon, but not with their abilities. They also go on to mention though that of course you won't be able to kill a 600 HP Roadhog all by yourself like that, at least most of the time, before he finishes you with his combo, but a 100 HP Roadhog wouldn't be able to hook you anymore. So when a Roadhog misses his hook, you can actually go after him instead, and make him having to rely on his shotty. Now I like this idea, I think it's a very interesting concept, and it's nice to see Jeff Goodman get involved in this type of discussion as well, and not just pure value and hero balancing in more numbers than anything. But Jeff Goodman does respond and say, I had thought about this once before, but to be honest we never actually tried playtesting that version. It'd be pretty easy to try out though, it's probably worth testing and seeing how it feels for both parties. And this is just another interesting feature that might actually make the game. Maybe we'll see it on the PTR soon, who knows, but I'd like to try it out at least.
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. It is worth highlighting, if you haven't seen it already, that there is a new Overwatch comic. I don't want to give too much away as it's a pretty interesting one, but it of course stars Bastion as he goes on one of his little adventures. So if you haven't seen that, you can check that out. All of the links to the dev posts should be in the description below. We have a tendency to sort of forget to put them there, but hopefully we'll nail it for this one. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Do let us know if you'd like more videos like this as a more of a weekly roundup. Like this video, that's a good way of showing that you want to see more. And until next time, take care. We'll see you then.